Hi, this is John from UProve, and I'm here to show you the basics of passive health monitoring using the Health Explorer. Passive health monitoring allows you to analyze the data from your wearable devices in order to gain a better understanding of what your body is trying to tell you. Since many of the signals produced by your body are difficult to detect, being unaware of or ignoring these signals can lead to a decline in your health. In this video, I'll show you how to use the health indicators, explore trends, and data inspector pages to perform passive health monitoring using my data as an example. Let's get started. First, I'll point my web browser to he.uprove.me. Next, I'll log in. After logging in, the user interface will take you to the Health Indicators page. This page gives you a quick bird's eye view of your health that you can evaluate in a few seconds. If most or all of the indicators are green or yellow, then you're probably good to go and you can go about your day without fretting over mounds of digital health data. If you see a warning message that gives you pause for concern, then you can start exploring. Let's go look at one of my warning messages. In the heart rate section, there is one warning message. Your sleeping heart rate pattern is not consistently ideal. If I click on the question mark icon next to the warning message, the UI will display a pop-up dialog. I can read through that text, and if it doesn't make enough sense to me, I can click on the details link. The UI will then create a new web browser tab for the Health Indicators Help page, then jump to the appropriate warning message. Jumping back to the Health Indicators page, I'll close the pop-up by clicking outside of the pop-up. Next, I'll click on the Explore Trends icon in the heart rate section. This will cause the UI to open the Explore Trends page in a new web browser tab. The Explore Trends page displays day-by-day statistical calculations of biometric data. Each dot that you see in a trend line represents a statistical calculation for some time interval on a particular date. The time interval for the statistical calculation may be for a sleep interval, an entire day, or a daytime interval. If I hover over a trend line, the UI will display the threshold limits for the trend that are used by the Health Indicators page. If I want to view the data that was used to calculate a trend line, right mouse click on the dot, then select menu option Open Data Inspector. I'll do that right now. The Data Inspector displays data for some time interval in two different formats, time series and frequency distribution. The time series tab represents the data as a two-dimension graph. The x-axis represents time, and you can zoom in or out by dragging the blue dots below the x-axis. The y-axis represents the value of the signal, and you can zoom in or out by dragging the blue dot to the left of the y-axis. The frequency distribution tab represents the data as a histogram. I'll cover the use of the histogram tab in other videos where we discuss specific signals and how to interpret them. All right, so what's going on? Let's go back to the Explore Trends page. The Explore Trends page is telling me that the ideal pattern for me to be in is what's called the hammock pattern. For the last 3 days, I was not in the hammock pattern. I was in what's called the downward slope pattern. I've already opened the data inspector for the most recent date, so let's go look at that. You can't really see that the data is constantly decreasing throughout the night, but we can make that more readily available or apparent by clicking on the zoom control for the y-axis. You can see that how when I went to bed, my heart rate was in the mid-40s when I went to bed, and then during the night it slowly decreased for the whole night down to the low 40s. That's why this is classified as the downward slope pattern. We can go look at an ideal pattern by finding it, right mouse clicking on it, and selecting Open Data Inspector. We'll do the same thing. We'll zoom in along the y-axis. Let's go a little bit more. You can see how this looks a little bit more like a hammock. It decreases over time, and then before I wake up, it slowly starts to increase. This is the ideal sleep pattern. So now why do we know this is an ideal sleep pattern? Let's go back to the help page. This link down here, heart rate during sleep, look for these 3 patterns. This is the documentation that URA produces. We are essentially emulating their algorithm. It's a classification algorithm, and they describe in more detail what these various trends mean. To sum things up, passive health monitoring helps you understand if your body is trying to tell you that it needs some TLC. If you want to determine why your body needs some TLC, that's the point at which you need to start recording your actions in order to support proactive health management, which I'll cover in a separate video presentation. Thanks for watching.